I did want to take a time to tell you a little bit about the bio of our speaker today before I bring her up. Merlene Vassall is who will be presenting to us today, and she is skilled in a wide range of nonprofit management areas. Ms. Vassall has developed successful funding proposals which have secured more than $22 million in support of a variety of projects in the area of elementary and secondary education, child care, child welfare, volunteer mobilization, housing rehabilitation, community economic development, foreign policy education, and health. She has written and edited annual reports, newsletters, press releases, testimony, and speeches. Merlene has also created comprehensive training manuals to assist volunteers in undertaking effective advocacy and service projects. She has organized national training programs for volunteers and has conducted grantsmanship and writing workshops like she's doing today. Ms. Vassall's prior employment includes serving as Director of Development for Trans-Africa and Trans-Africa Forum, Director of Affiliate Programs for the National Black Child Development Institute, Deputy Project Director for NBCDI's Educational Equity for Black Girls Project, Membership Coordinator for NBCDI, and Written Editor for Cornell University's Equity News magazine. Merlene received her Bachelor of Science in Human Development and Family Studies from Cornell University in 1982. In 1987, Merlene earned her Juris Doctorate from Georgetown University Law Center four-year evening program. She is a member of the Pennsylvania Bar. Ms. Vassall has served on boards of directors of International Possibilities Unlimited and the Vegetarian Society of DC. Would you please join me in welcoming Merlene Vassall?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many people, a lot more people than I expected to see this afternoon, but it's really great that so many people are interested in doing good things for the community. I want to take a moment to go over the agenda. Initially, I had thought that we would all introduce each other, but I think it's too many people to do that. That'll take the whole 4 hours. So we're going to have to skip that part. But I would like to briefly go over what it is we're going to discuss this afternoon. The first document that we're going to go over is the one that says Grant Seeking Basics for Beginners. That book talks generally about how to prepare your organization and also how to prepare a proposal. We're not going to go through the entire document, but you can read the parts that we don't go over when you return home or to your organizations. After that, we're going to go over an example of a federal RFP. RFP stands for Request for Proposals. Sometimes you'll also hear it called an RFA, Request for Applications. They're very long, and oftentimes people get intimidated just by the size of them. So I want to take the time to go through it so that you can be familiar with it, and when you're ready to apply, you won't feel intimidated when you get this really long document that you have to go through. After that, we'll spend some time talking about how do you find federal grant opportunities. And that's actually become much easier than it used to be years ago when I started out in this field. After that, we'll talk just briefly about foundation grants. And then I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about how do you work with a grant writer if you decide to hire someone to help you prepare your application. What I was hoping to do, and still hope to do, is not stand here and lecture, but to go through the materials, point out highlights, and have you ask me questions. We can learn better from each other. Also, if you have comments, if there's something that you did that was successful or wasn't successful, or any points that you want to make that you think the other people in the room would benefit from, I hope that you'll raise your hand and share those comments with everyone. Okay, I guess we're ready to start. The first document is Grant Seeking for Beginners. Please, can you pull that out? And we're going to start on page 2. Get ready for fundraising. How many of you all are from organizations that are already established? Okay, it looks like most people. How many people here have applied for foundation grants before? Okay, not that many. What about federal grants? Okay, also not that many. Okay, that's good, so that, because I've prepared this primarily for beginners, but those of you who have applied before, feel free to jump in if you want to make some comments about what your experience has been. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is take care of administrative matters. Your organization has to be incorporated, and there you see the contact for where you get that done for Michigan. You need to obtain your federal 501c3 tax-exempt status, and that's a fairly long process. The web link is there for you to go online, and you can download the application. I'm not going to talk about that in detail since that's not the focus of this workshop. Something else that you should do that's I don't have on this page, but we'll talk more about it later, is register with grants.gov. That's something that you need to do in order to apply for federal grants online. Okay, third on this list is obtain tax-exempt status. 4 is register to solicit funds. I believe that's more necessary for foundation and other kinds of fundraising, but the states regulate what organizations are soliciting funds. So if you're going to be sending out direct mail, for example, in Michigan and in other states, you're supposed to be registered with the state. That way, if people have complaints about your organization or something, they can contact the state. That's something that a lot of organizations don't realize they're supposed to do. Okay, on the next page, adhere to generally accepted accounting procedures. You should have someone in your organization or hire an accounting firm to get your books in order. That's pretty basic, and you really want to make sure you have someone who knows what they're doing manage your accounting. Item 6 is comply with standards for charities. The Better Business Bureau Wise Giving Alliance has standards for instance, how many people, minimum number of people you should have on your board of directors, how often the board of directors should meet, a whole lot of different, well, they're not exactly requirements, but standards, how they judge whether or not an organization is good and doing good work and well managed. It's very important for you to at least know what those standards are. You should also try to meet them if possible. The way that this kicks in is if somebody, the Better Business Bureau doesn't come looking at your organization, but if someone asks them about your group, then they will contact you and ask you for a whole bunch of information, and from that they'll write up the profile. So if you don't meet their standards, then on their website you'll have a profile that has negative information about you. So you really should get those guidelines, those standards, see what they are, and try your best to meet them.